1, AGUA Special Utility District. Regular meeting of Board of Directors, December 11th. It is 6:01 p.m. Call to order. Dr. Adriana Flores Verial.
Here.
Jose Luis Ochoa.
Here.
Ricardo Perez.
Here.
Romero Tijerina.
Here.
Ana Maria Perez.
Present.
And Roel de Hoyos.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum, so 1B, invocation.
Heavenly Father, as we gather today to conduct matters of business for AGUA Sud, may you give us your guidance, wisdom, and knowledge to make the best decisions for the ratepayers and employees. Lord, let this meeting be productive and let your peace surround us today. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One D, public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, Madam President, we have two. We have Ms. Priscila Silva with Mr. Juan Martinez, and also we have Ms. Kathy Quilantal. Go ahead, Ms. Priscila Silva and Mr. Juan Martinez for the public comment.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. We filled out an application of variance. We're in hopes of getting a water meter for our property. We do live in a current old subdivision. I believe it started in the 80s. We're the only property that doesn't have water. We just purchased the property last year. We're in hopes. We signed at the title company November 7th, and the builders can't start without, the county can't give us a permit without knowing that we could possibly get a water meter in our property. I currently have a baby on the way, and I'm living at my parents' property in an RV. It gets cold. We're in hopes of building our home, but that's what's stopping us. So,
Right now in Post County is saying that we need the OS permit, that we're gonna have water, because if now they can't release the permit to the builders so they can start break the ground on the building of our home. And that's what we're hoping for. I mean, everybody in that subdivision, like I said, they have their water meter. Everybody in there is just the land we bought is raw. It was raw land. They never did nothing with it, so they say it's raw land.
Where is this at again?
This is on Dauphin Road.
Dauphin.
Dauphin Road, 6 1/4 mile.
so
Yes.
a little
It's a
before
little
7.
subdivision. It's a third road subdivision, and some of the neighbors, they said that they've been there since the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's an old subdivision.
Another one of our worries is that since we did close for the construction on the 7th, they do give the builders only 12 months to build, so we've already gone 1 month. So we don't know how long the building takes, but if we don't want to become penalized for the builders not being able to start.
I mean, you never know with the weather. You know how hurricane season is gonna be.
Just the
They
winter
usually
weather also.
pretty much. This year has been good, but you never know.
Yes.
This year could be bad, and and then fall behind on the construction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, next we have Ms. Kathy Quilantal.
Hello, good evening. I live in Pueblo de Palmas, Peñitas, Texas. My name is Kathy Quilantan. I am a member of Lupe and a part of the AGUA committee, which has been formed due to the ongoing water cutoffs in the summer, to which have been occurring for more than 3 years. Today, we wanted to present you with our AGUA committee wish list. due to it being 7 months since our first meeting. Our wish list consists of 1, safe, equitable, and reliable water all year long. 2, the inline booster on mile 4 and Tom Gill. 3, diverse communication such as website, text alerts, and mail. 4, a water plant north of Peñitas and 107. And now, with only 5 months between now and summer, we are really concerned that there will be no water once again, like last year and 3 years, before. Instead of enjoying Christmas and New Year's, we will need to start planning for our families to not have to live in the inhumane conditions, environments we endure every summer due to the lack of water. We really don't want to melt Frosty to start saving water. Also, we have brought you a gift to remind you of why we have been consistently at these meetings, and a treat to remind you that we are here in good faith, that you will all help us soon, fast, and for us to get more answers as, a timeline as well. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. So, moving forward, yes? Can move forward?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for the comments. Item number 2, minutes. A, approval of minutes for the October 10th, 2023 AGUA Special Board Meeting.
So move.
Have a motion by Mr. Tijerina, second by Dr. Villarreal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, public hearing on the proposed 2024 operating and capital improvements budget.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, at this time, we can open up the public hearing
Yes.
for any comments from the public.
For public comments on the proposed 2024 operating and capital improvement budget. If there are any comments from the public regarding the proposed 2024 budget.
So,
If there are no public comments on the proposed budget, then we can have a motion to close the public hearing on the proposed budget.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Perez and a second by Mr. Tijerina. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on a resolution by the AGUA Board of Directors adopting the 2024 operating and capital improvement budget.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, as you were aware, the workshop was held Saturday, December 2nd, and of course, we had the public comment and viewing of the proposed budget from December 6th to December 8th. And basically, just to give a summary of the actual, the budget, the proposed 2024 operating budget, we're looking at revenue sources for approximately 14.6 million, and expenses being at 12.6 million approximately. So that's including, of course, the summary and all the feedback from the board, as of course having that 2% COLA, the 500 supplemental pay, also to include the same amount of employees, which will be 69 employees. And also, as far as the capital improvements and purchases, we're looking at, of course, the FM 886 booster station generator. That's at 85,000. That was an additional item. The backhoe that we had already received approval from the board is listed as well, since we're not going to receive the equipment until next.
Page 62.
I'm sorry, page 62 out of the budget.
Yeah.
That's where the capital improvement proposed purchases are located. So we're also looking into purchasing 5 additional trucks. On this, we also have the waste water treatment plant office improvements at Havana. We also have a minor improvement here at this office, as well as far as the outside warehouse. And of course, we have also included the inline booster station that we're gonna be approving to construct here in the Peñitas 4-mile line area. So those are the main projects that we have. On page 63, that's where the actual capital improvements projects are listed as well. So we listed the Havana Water Treatment Plant Reservoir Project. That's a project that it's on hold depending on what the news that we received from the earlier from the Water Development Board as far as the North Water Treatment Plant. We have the Tom Gill Booster Station at $400,000. We, in essence, received back feedback from the contractor, since we were doing the value engineering to a total of, as you may recall, it was a total of $505,000. We did some value engineering, and we cut it down to $400,000. So the Tom Gill Booster Station, it's at close to $400,000 that is going to be awarded. And then we have other projects as far as the completion of the Mendiola, that's $65,000 left, and any other impact fee projects that we might have as well. So this is what we have as far as a summary. I know that we already discussed the budget in general through last week as well. Is any comments from the board or feedback? But this is the actual proposed project budget that we're presenting to the board
Okay.
as a final.
Okay. Any
What was
questions?
what was the original on the Tom Gill booster?
The original was $505,000, and it has been cut down to three. We haven't. We'll discuss it during the general manager's comments, but it's cut down to $399,000 approximately. So we cut down approximately about $106,000 for that booster, and we have it as part of the budget for this next year as well. And the contractor will be ready. We just need to issue a notice to proceed as well for that. And the board gave us direction to negotiate with the contractor, bring it down as much as we could, and we can proceed with the actual project.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other further questions or concerns?
So move.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Tijerina. Second by Mr. Ochoa. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on the approval of amendment to the brokerage service agreement, amending the name of AGUA Sud's insurance broker of record from Barrett Insurance Services LLC to Newkirk to Robinson Barron Insurance Services LLC and Newkirk.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board. So we did receive a letter which is attached to item 5, and basically what it is, it's an authorized the release of AGUA Special Utility Services from Barrett Insurance Services to Robinson Barron Insurance Services. So basically this was a request from Barrett Insurance Services. So what I believe now that there's a new person that the agency gave rights to, which the last name is Robinson, and basically they're asking just, of course, to change the name, the actual name that we have now. The contract terms will not change. And I know we have Mr. Pierre Newkirk. Do you have any comments, Mr. Pierre, on this? But basically, that was a request.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, board members. All we're doing is just a name change. So Barrett Insurance gave their rights to Shanna, which is the current agent, along with myself, that are the ones that are serving you all. That's all we're doing, just a name change.
So move.
So I have a motion by Mr. Tijerina and a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding the approval of property casualty and workers' compensation policies.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board. So we did have a committee meeting in reference to the property and casualty. I know that some of the board members are already familiar with the compensation policies, but we do have Mr. Greg Clement on the line that will summarize the actual insurance proposal as far as it goes. I don't know if he can hear us.
Greg, can you hear us?
I think he's muted.
He's muted?
I think you're muted, sir. Or is it an issue on our end?
Muted.
He can't see you.
That way?
There we go.
My professional expertise are not in Zoom meetings, so I apologize. Just real briefly, my name's Greg Clement. I grew up in the valley on 3 Mile Line and what's now Buddy Owens. A lot of time, so very familiar with the area. In general, I know everybody knows that insurance cost is up. If you've gotten your homeowner's renewal, your auto renewal, and God forbid you own anything on the island, you know your rates are up. We have made some improvements to your policy this year. Starting with the property, we hadn't had any adjustments in value here, I think, for the last 4 years. And the insurance company did an evaluation and increased your limits by 15%. So we essentially went from 54 million total values to 69 million. And then in addition to that, we've got some improvements and other equipment that's been purchased. So we're now around 75 million total values for your property. The majority of your premium is in the property coverage. That's where most of the bulk of our money is being spent. So with the increasing the value, the rate, even if it stayed the same, your insurance would go up 15%. And the rates have gone up. In addition to that, we're somewhere around about a 21% increase in values. And our total premiums are up about $55,000 for the year. Where it went from 174,636 to 229,220. I can assure you that we did shop your account with multiple carriers, and there's not a lot of interest in property coverages in what they call the first and second tier counties, which would be Cameron and Hidalgo, the closest counties to the coast, going all the way up the coast. Does anybody have any questions today or anything?
No.
No, okay. So one of the big improvements that we were able to make is on the general liability coverage. Last year, with COVID going through everything, there was a lot of concern that maybe COVID would be spread through water. And all the insurance companies excluded any type of communicable disease. We were able to get that coverage added back on this year. Last year, we quoted that as a standalone coverage for $60,000 a year. That was not purchased. So we kind of just went a year without that coverage due to the cost. But we have it back on our policy now. It's $1 million in coverage. And it covers both 2 trailers that were added to the auto policy, and then 2 generator sets, about $52,000 in value. The only bright news on premium is on your workers' compensation. Actually went down about $10,000 this year, from about $69,000 to $59,509. The reason for this is that your administration has taken some action in reducing the frequency of claims. And what that entails is taking care of some of the smaller claims out of pocket as opposed to turning it in. If we have somebody that cuts themselves and they need a tetanus shot and it's $110 at the doctor's office, you're gonna come way ahead taking care of those small claims yourself. And we've been evaluating those on a case-by-case basis, but we're already seeing results with the $10,000 savings this year. So I think they should be commended for that. Last year, we looked at not buying the umbrella, which is an extra $4 million in coverage. Doesn't really give you any extra coverage. It just extends what you have from $1 million to a total of $5 million. And when we didn't renew it, we found out that there was some type of contract with the loan and you're required to carry that. So we went ahead and included it this year right off the bat. The total premium summary page, the second to the last page, gives you a breakdown. One thing I would like to point out is your premiums now are about what you were paying 3 years ago. And part of that reason is because there was a large fee on the agency fee side, was I think close to $60,000. We do charge some fees, it's $1,500 though. That allows us to run all the motor vehicle reports and do some of the paperwork on our end that we need to accomplish, and pay some outside services for that. The total premium we're projecting is $229,220. That was based on last year. There is an opportunity to save some premium by increasing your deductibles. On the general liability right now, your deductible is 0. You turn in claim, we take care of it. If we move that to $5,000, in other words, you have a claim, y'all are gonna pay the first 5, and then we'll take over from there. Increase the property deductible from $2,500 to $10,000. That would be for anything like a vehicle running into something, fire, theft, wind, those kinds of losses. But the windstorm has a separate deductible, which is 5%. The comprehensive and collision deductibles on the auto would go from 100 on comp and 500 on collision to 1,000. If you did that, you would save $17,283. Is it worth it? I mean, if you don't have any claims, it certainly is. If you have just a couple of claims, you're probably gonna lose money making that decision. And then we have these, very last page, these are 5, totally lift stations and 2 solar fields. We need to add the premium for that. We're estimating that's gonna be approximately $15,000 to $20,000 additional. I have not been able to get the carrier to rework those premiums, adding those since our insurance committee meeting. They have a lot of renewals that come due at the same time as yours and on 1/1. So I apologize for that. We have been pushing them to get us that information. So that's about it. I do think that insurance premiums are gonna start leveling off here, and we're seeing the worst of it. We can get through another year and then we'll be in a good position.
I had a question, Mr. Clement, on the, I don't know if you can hear me, but on the insurance, are board directors included if they are attending for example, a meeting in a different city or a seminar somewhere here in the RGV or Austin, usually Austin, right? That's where we have our meetings with Water Development Board, TCEQ. Our board directors cover with insurance for accidents?
Yes, the insurance, yes, sir. All the insurance policies are not limited to just one location. You say, are the board directors covered? So if you were to be driving your automobile, let's say up to a meeting in San Antonio as a board member, and it's not covered under the policy here, you have to have your own insurance. We're not gonna step in and pay for an accident that happened while you were driving your car going to San Antonio. With that said, if there's a lawsuit that comes out of that activity and the AGUA Special Utility District is sued, we will defend the district, but not the board member. The only way that that would be different is let's say that a board member flew up to Austin and rented a car. Since they rented the car, if they're renting it under AGUA's authority or direction to go to a meeting, then we would defend them for that accident.
But if we rent a car and then we're gonna get reimbursed by AGUA Sud, how would that work?
Yes, you can do, there just needs to be an agreement between the utility district and the board member that the utility district's gonna be responsible. And even if you rent it under your car, credit card for instance, and get reimbursed, then we would defend you in any type of auto accident.
And, Jaren, I might be wrong on this, but can you check, because on our bylaws it states that, we got coverage of 10,000 for each one.
My understanding is we have a separate D&O policy. Is that what you're working on?
That's why I wanna verify.
Yeah, we'll confirm that, but I think that might be a separate coverage that the district has.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, do we have the directors and officers policy? Have we looked at that?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
The directors and officers policy is more protection against making a bad decision. The example that I usually use that people can relate to is putting a new roof on a warehouse, for instance, and nobody does any research on the roofer. The guy's all over the internet that he's a crook. You guys give him half the money and he takes off. The board members could be held responsible for not acting in good faith or with reasonable caution in executing a large contract like that. And that's when the policy for the directors and officers would step in.
What was the amount that we paid last year?
The amount that you paid last year is on that premium summary down at the bottom on the left. It's $174,636. And that did not include any type of communicable disease coverage under the general liability.
And that umbrella one, which is that project that requires that umbrella insurance?
It's your bank.
Which one?
Your bank.
Our bank on our loans? So last year that we didn't have it?
Yes, that was due to the Bank of America leases. In that contract, it stated that the district needed to have 5 million in aggregate coverage, insurance coverage, which is something that we found out during the year, I believe earlier this year. And that's what this is now included.
So we're actually like went half the year without that insurance, or
It
we're
was brought
going
to
to
our
kind of?
attention earlier in 2023, around March, April time, and we got that result.
So we're covered now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So move.
Second?
Have a motion by Mr. Tijerina and a second by Ms. Perez. All in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 7, discussion and possible action on the change of date for the January board meeting. Mr. Salinas?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, attached within item number 7, we have a calendar for the month of January 2024. Staff is recommending to change the board meeting to either the 16th, January 16th, because the 15th is a holiday, or January 22nd. Those are the recommendations that we have, changing it from January 1st.
The 16th?
16.
And so just to add on to that, the first is obviously a holiday, the 15th is a holiday. The 8th would be the first non-holiday Monday. However, there will be on an upcoming item on the agenda, we'll be discussing the capital improvements plan.
Because it's
It'll be
Martin Luther
before
King.
to have a public hearing on an order adopting the capital improvements plan. And so to avoid having a regular meeting and then a special meeting, we would recommend one of these 2 dates for the next regular January meeting.
I still move for the 16th.
Second.
Okay. So I have a motion by Ms. Ana Maria Perez and a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So we are good for the 16th. Okay. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on the approval of a one-time supplemental pay for AGUA Sud employees.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, as was approved in the prior budget workshop and approval of the budget last year for 2023, the board adopted to have a 500 supplemental pay for each employee for a total of 69 employees. Now, right now, we have a total of 61 employees. That'll be a total of $38,249. And this is for a 500 supplemental pay post-tax.
And that's also for the part-timer?
For the part-timer will be half of that, 250.
So move.
Did they work the?
Second.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Wait, she's
Go ahead,
asking a
Ms.
question.
Go ahead.
Did you
She
work
said
numbers
that-
on $600? Because this is for the 2023, 2024, 2025, or
No, this is for this year.
this
for
year's?
the
Okay,
2023
that we had
budget.
already approved the,
Approved,
okay.
December 2026.
Okay.
2022.
This is for administration too.
Well,
Just a second.
Okay,
Is
this
this
is
only
not
for the
for
regular
the next
employees
year.
or
No.
administration's gonna be getting this as well, or?
61 employees, except the general manager.
so, okay, so we're good. So it was a motion by Mr. Tijerina, second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 9, discussion of possible action on the approval of variance request from stage 3 of the drought contingency plan.
Madam President, we recommend for various reasons, legal aspects, that we take this item into executive session.
So moved.
So, second.
Have a motion by Ms. Perez and a second by Mr. Tijerina. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, discussion and possible action on accepting delivery from M2 Engineering and Capex Consulting Group of proposed amendments to the AGUA Sud Capital Improvement Plan and impact fee.
Yes, Madam President, here with us today, we have a representative from M2 Engineering, and on the line, on the call, we have Mr. Jeff Snowden with Capex Consulting Group. They were tasked to work on the capital improvement plan and impact fee. We had a couple of meetings with the impact committee as well, So they're here just to give a brief summary on what we have been discussing as far as the actual capital improvement plan and the impact fee.
Yes, good evening, Madam President and members of the board.
Good evening.
Our team was assigned the task to amend the previously accepted CIP, and a large portion of that CIP is to assess the existing AGUA SUD infrastructure and the demands of the current existing service connections. So in analyzing AGUA SUD's historic trends and data, we were able to assign a growth rate and project it over the next 10 years to assess which areas of the system will be deficient and will need improvements to. And as part of the review, we included recommendations to do to the system, totaling to a total of $56 million. So these are recommendations to the system that should be implemented over the next 10 years in order to keep AGUA SUD in compliance with TCQ and any state guidelines. So over the last few weeks, we've had 2 detailed committee review meetings that we completed and discussed in order to provide feedback to our capital improvement plan and get a feel for our numbers and see where the public stood and just get some general basic feedback. So if you guys have any questions on the report itself, I'd be more than happy to give you guys a detailed answer on that.
No. Where were you getting the information from? What page of the report?
So do you have the capital improvement plan in front of you?
It should be page 25. It should be page 25. It doesn't have a page number.
We have
24,
them.
I'm sorry, 24. Page 24. Basically, it's the cost analysis of
Yes, a large portion of
projects.
those 59 million, I'm sorry, is the La Habana water treatment plant expansion and the water treatment plant that is proposed in the north side. Those are 2 big chunks that are a little higher priority and make up the majority of those 59 million. The other recommendations were already a part of the previous CIP that we were including, some projects that did not get implemented over the last course years. So we went ahead and left those there, and we also went ahead and implemented a few new ones, such as the Tomgill Inline Booster Station project. That way we could actually use whatever is in the capital improvement account for these specific projects.
Now that I have the page, which ones did you add on?
I'm sorry?
Which ones were added on?
The 8-inch transmission upgrade from mile 3 to La Salida Sol.
Okay.
the water treatment plant, the 5 MGD water treatment plant as well.
And this analysis is gonna take 10 years to complete?
No, ma'am. So our job was to make the analysis on the existing connections and using previous historical trends, come up with a growth rate, and that way we can project how many service connections we anticipate over the next 10 years. So having those numbers and backtracking to how much demand we use for each connection, we're able to see how much is going to be in excess or how much is going to be deficient in certain areas, such as total elevated storage tanks, distribution capacity, and just other aspects of the
Okay, I
water treatment.
misunderstood. Thank you.
Yes, and based on that, Madam Vice President, Mr. Jeff Snowden with CAPEX came out with a maximum impact fee for water and a maximum impact fee for sanitary sewer as well.
Okay.
Mr. Snowden, if you can briefly summarize the impact.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Salinas and Jeff Snowden with CAPEX Consulting, and glad to be of service to the district. We've developed a capital improvement plan that will address the needs driven by growth for the next 10 years at AGUA SUD. And then the next step after we developed that plan was determine how size, but the smallest meter would, the fee would be $3,217. And then for wastewater connections, the maximum allowable fee would be $311. So those are the maximum numbers that the board could consider adopting for your new impact fees to fund growth for the next 10 years.
So we can know where they're talking from.
Jeff, you wanna implement it on this capital improvement plan for this year? So,
Yes, sir, that's correct. These fees are a direct function of the capital improvement plan presented to you this evening. So they are tied to the cost and the timing of the CIP that M2 has prepared.
And just as a background, that cost is basically set as a statutory calculation, right? That Jeff's doing is how the statute calls it out is you look at the costs of what those 10 years project out to meet the demand. And you estimate from that demand growth how many new connections you have to the system. And it's fairly simple to take the cost of that construction to meet demand and the number of connections, and you have a per LUE calculation, which is what, essentially is the cost to the infrastructure per LUE to the system to meet that demand.
do we have a letter already from the committee?
They will, the district has not, they have a deadline of, so one of the next, and we'll talk about it on an upcoming item. This agenda item is just to officially receive the finalized CIP and impact fee as proposed. It is not adopting them, right? And so it is just officially receiving
The report.
these documents, these reports, right? And then what the district will do is set a date for a public hearing on these proposed amendments to both of them. And after that public hearing, the board can approve an order adopting either this fee or a fee less than. The district cannot assess an impact fee higher than the maximum allowable. It can adopt an impact fee lower than the maximum allowable, but there are aspects to that that we'll probably want to, legal aspects of that we'll probably want to discuss in executive session when we get to that point after that public hearing.
Wouldn't it be better just to get that letter first? That's
So
the way we've done it
advisory
before.
committee is required to provide their letter 5 days prior, 5 business days prior to the public hearing. And they have been informed of that. So the district will receive those comments before the district will meet to either approve or change these as proposed.
So the approval today will not change the impact fee. That's the.
Yeah,
We're just receiving the report.
item before you is simply to officially receive these reports.
Well, I wouldn't want for us to approve and then it goes back to the committee and administrative tells them, well, the board already approved this amounts and you're forcing them to,
Yeah, no, it's
let the committee do
The item before
their
you
job.
is not to approve the maximum allowable. It is to accept
The report.
the capital improvements plan and the impact fee study. Accept receipt of it, not to approve the impact fee, proposed impact fee. That will be at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so move.
Have a motion by Mr. Perez and a second by
Second.
Dr. Villarreal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, we still have 4 votes, right? Yes, motion carries. Okay, item number 11, discussion and possible action on the order setting and public hearing date to consider amendments to the capital improvement plan and imposition of amended water impact fee, approving form to content to the public notice for the public hearing, and authorizing the publication of the notice and providing for an effective date.
Madam President, you'll see in the packet, we have a draft order establishing the public hearing date. You'll notice that the space is blank as we didn't want to presume on which date in January the board wanted to have the public hearing in the next meeting. But based on the prior agenda items setting the next regular meeting at January 16th, we would propose that be January 16th at 6 p.m. Or 6:30 p.m. I should say, be the time for or 6 o'clock, sorry. 6 o'clock, getting mixed up here, be the time for the public hearing.
Move.
Have a motion by Mr. Perez,
Second.
a second by Ms. Ana Maria Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 12, discussion and possible action on amending the non-standard service agreement for El Crucero Phase 3 subdivision approved by the Board of Directors on October 10th, 2022 to update and decrease in lots from 23 to 22 lots.
Yes, Madam President, we have M2 Engineering for this item, Madam President, so we did receive a request from a developer just to decrease the lots from 23 to 2022. The initial subdivision was granted back in October 10th, 2022, and they wanted for us to see if we can add this agenda item. So basically, we're reducing, not adding lots. Is that the case?
That's correct.
So move.
Second.
So I have a motion by Ms. Perez and a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item number 13, discussion and possible action on approving tolling agreements with the HCID 6 and HCID 16 regarding AGUA 2021 water rights petitions under the Texas Water Code Chapter 49, Subchapter, is it all?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes, Madam President, what we have here is an agreement for tolling statutory deadlines, both with HCID 6 and HCID 16, just as a brief historical background. And the statute, Chapter 49, Subchapter O of the Water Code, allows the district at the end of every year to file a water rights petition to, in this instance, irrigation districts when there are recorded subdivisions requesting basically a preferential purchase option at a discounted rate for the water rights that are attached to those properties. The idea is, as agricultural land is turning into municipal land and the water use is changing from agriculture and irrigation into municipal use, that we can petition those irrigation districts to make sure that as the district grows in customers, we're able to match that growth at a discounted rate with water rights. So at the end of 2021, we filed a petition with both irrigation districts that are within the district's service area for years 2020 and 2021. They have basically 2 years to provide or work on those water rights. We're currently in negotiations with both entities on a water rights sales agreement, and it's not ready yet, but we don't want to run into any issue with deadlines. So this is to toll those deadlines and be able to continue that conversation.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Tijerina and a second by Ms. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, discussion and possible action approving 2023 water rights petitions to HCID 6 and HCID 16 under the Texas Water Code, Chapter 49, Subchapter O.
Yes, Madam President, so just as we discussed with 2021, we could do this every year, but it just makes more efficient sense to do it every 2 years because the petition can reach back to 2 years. And so this will be the 2023 water rights petition doing the same thing. So in the last 2 years, the district has had some development and those subdivisions that were recorded, which you'll see the recordation copies behind the as the exhibits A to each of these separate petitions. But those this basically represents those subdivisions over the last 2 years and the water rights petitions that will eventually probably loop in with 2021 into a final sales of these entities.
Okay.
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Tijerina.
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Ochoa. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15, discussion and possible action on the selection of firms for land surveying services.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, we did receive 3 responses for the RFQ. We had Sam's, Meldon and Hunt, and Rowe Land Surveying. So basically, we met with the committee, with the RFQ committee, we ranked the 3 submittals. And attached, you will see the ranking that we have. We have, as number 1, we have Sam's or Sains. 2, we have Meldon and Hunt. And 3, we have Rowe Surveying. So basically, what we would like to do is to put these 3 firms on a rotation list for any surveying or topography services that we might need throughout the next 2 years.
So move.
Okay. I have a motion by Ms. Ana Maria Perez and a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
What were the names? Can I have the names?
Yes. Yes, Madam.
Sam's, Melton and Hunt, and
We
Rowe.
have Sam's, Meldon and Hunt, and Rowe, R-O-W, survey.
Any further questions, concerns? Okay, item number 16, discussion and possible action on the selection of an engineer for geographic information systems, system services, I'm sorry.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, we did receive 4 RFQ responses for the GIS services. And we met with the RFQ committee for this, and basically on the attachment of your item, you have the ranking. We have, that's number 1, Sains, which is at 94.6. Then we have B2Z Engineering at 94.1. Cruz Hogan at 93.6, and Meldon and Hunt at 91.5. What we would like to do, Madam President and members of the board, start the negotiations with the number 1 rank, and if we don't come into an agreement, then go with number 2, and so on and so forth. Now the GIS, it's not as a surveying. For this, we would like to have only 1 representative, since it's a complex software. So we would like to have only 1 representative for this. And basically, what we would like to do is to update our water system throughout the district, and also include the sanitary sewer lines in Sullivan and also in Palmview as a project.
Okay.
So that's what we have.
Okay.
So move.
I have a motion by Ms. Perez.
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 17, discussion and possible action authorizing general manager to submit a Texas Water Development Board intent to apply for the DWSRF State Year 2024 and formal application for funding for the North Water Treatment Plant.
Yes, Madam President, On this item, members of the board, on this item, we did receive a notice from the Water Development Board that we were invited for the project that we submitted, which was the 5 MGD North Water Treatment Plant that we call it. The eligible project cost is 30 million on this. So there's a two-part application. One, which we have a deadline by the end of December, which is the intent to apply. Then we have a second application that we will need to submit by the end of January. So we would like approval from the board to submit this two applications. And of course, we will have meetings with our financial advisors as well and our bond counsel through the application process as well. So we would like authorization for from the board so that the general manager can submit these two applications to the Water Development Board.
So move. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Tijerina and a second by Ms. Ana Maria Perez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
This is that north plant.
That's the north plant.
Yes. Okay. So that's for the north plant again.
Well, actually, it can be anywhere, right?
It can be,
More-
yes,
more
we
needed.
call it the north plant because we would like,
That's where the-
based on our pressure zones, have it
Western Hidalgo.
north, yes, western north.
Item number 18, discussion and possible action on the approval of revised change order number 5 with Morwell for the Nat Bank Palmview Yard Line Project hookup project.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, we have M2 Engineering to summarize change order number 5 with Morwell for the Nat Bank project.
Yes, good evening, Madam President and members of the board. This item is in reference to change order number 5, change order number 5 of the yard line project. This change order was previously approved, but a mathematical error was present on it, so this is being requested to amend that revision.
Credit?
More or less.
Yeah.
So basically, what was submitted is that there was an error as far as if you go to page 1 out of 2 under item 18. Previously was approved a negative, a credit of $42,000 with $80. Now after review by Morville and M2 Engineering, the actual amount is $29,900 as a credit. So it is a credit, but it's less than what was initially approved.
That is correct.
So move.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mr. Tijerina and a second by Ms. Villarreal. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Redhead. Item number 19, discussion and possible action on the approval of change order number 6 with Morwell for the Nat Bank Palmview Yard Line Project.
Yes, Madam President, members of the, we have M2 Engineering to summarize change order number 6.
Yes, ma'am. This item is in reference to change order number 6 of the yard line project. This change order will be the final change order that is being requested, and its purpose is for quantity reconciliation based on the review of the as-built that were provided. So we sat down with the contractor and did a full reconciliation of the quantities in order to close out this project.
So with that in mind, there's 200 and some less?
Right, so after deducting certain amount of shorts and mediums and doing the reconciliation, the net decrease on the contract was $229.40.
Connections?
Dollars on the contract amount.
So this will reconciliate the materials. Remember, there was a change order on the materials as a positive and then minus the connections.
Yes, that's correct.
So this will net out to minus 200.
And 29, yes.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's less connections.
Right, so The way that the bid tab categorized the service connections was by shorts, mediums, and longs. There was instances where a short was assumed to be installed, but in actuality a medium was installed. So certain shorts got replaced by certain mediums and back and forth, but the net decrease on the contract amount was $229.
Salinas, wasn't there less connections because on the ongoing situation that we have?
There was less connections that were deleted on, I don't recall the change order.
I believe it was change order number 5 where we did a large decrease in quantities.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that's where all this coming up. So then, since we're closing up the project, FYI for the board for the future, AGUA said is gonna be responsible for those 200 and some connections. And Ms. Perez, it falls on your district. Just an FYI for the future.
Yes, and essentially those service connections that were removed, a large portion of them were due to that area not being substantially complete yet. That area along La Homa and Veterans.
Yep, where I live. Kind of in
So basically, as a summary, so what was a decrease in the materials, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, it was it was an increase in the materials, and then with the decrease in the actual connections, so that balanced out to be approximately the same amount that was awarded?
Correct.
But still a net loss because of the fact that we didn't connect as many as we thought we would.
Yes, and that got taken care of, if I'm not mistaken, on change order number 5.
Now, who made that mistake?
Which mistake?
It just couldn't, it was not, I mean, they couldn't install them.
It was not substantially complete the portion of the Palmview project, which is the project that now we have under
I get it, but
litigation.
someone made that prediction, right? That that's the amount that would be needed, or no?
That was part of the NatBank project.
Yeah, essentially a large part of the scope of work had to basically get removed from the contract since it was not able to get installed in that area.
So we're gonna send money back?
We decreased the amount of money that the contract was awarded.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
and like, we can't get that back in for future, correct?
Who's gonna be responsible for those connections?
Well, that's, we are.
Yes, that we,
And I would,
Yes, we do.
recommend that if we
Take that to executive.
take the question of that, the answer to that question to executive session.
Thank you.
Okay, so, do we take this to executive?
We can, if we wanna continue talking about, the question that.
How many connections were there? 229?
So that, on this change
Left,
order specifically, on the reconciliation of the final quantities, there was just a net decrease on the contract amount of $229.
No, but of connections.
Connections that are not here.
the reduction in connections on the north side of the expressway was
It should be
close
like
to
249 or
plus.
something like that.
249, not 229,
No, 229 is the dollar amount.
No.
the dollar amount,
Yeah.
per
It's
connection?
like- But it's like 200 and.
Per connection? Per connection?
But just like Homer said, I wanted to know about how many we're looking at
For the whole thing.
my area.
For the whole thing?
Huh?
For the whole thing?
You'll
229
get
what?
me a count for the connections,
229
right?
is the dollar amount.
Yes, we have all of that
That's the
tallied up.
close-
Yeah.
close
So
it
just
off.
give me that
229.
number.
Yes, to close it off.
229,000?
Yes, what they're explaining is the connections is getting deducted, so that amount is like a credit for us, but since we owe them, the board had approved the 350,000 for the cost of the pipes, so now it's balancing out, now it's
Yeah.
229,000.
Yeah, I do recall that with the pipes.
Yeah.
I just want to know
Yeah.
a more or less figure of how many connections were not done.
Okay.
Yes, we'll have that tallied up and summarized on the final pay request.
And Carlos is good with everything?
Yes, sir, we've had close coordination with both NatBank and the contractor to finalize all this.
If the board wants to move it into executive session, we've got Jeff, he can talk a little bit about that, I'm sure.
Yes, some of it.
Okay.
to move this item into executive.
Second?
Okay, so we have a motion to move this item into executive, and this would be item number 19. And I have a second by Mr. Tijerina. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 20, discussion and possible action on the award of bid to the lowest responsible bidder for the Palmview Yard Line Connection Project Phase 2.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, so we did receive only one bid for this project. As you may recall, we solicited for bids for this same project. Now Moreville has been the lowest bidder this time, but the second time, the lone only bidder for this project for a total amount as a base bid, which is the recommended bid based on the funding that is available of $2,493,838. And this is again for the Palmview Yard Line Connection Phase 2 project, which is out of the NADBank project. And basically these are the subdivisions south of Business 83 along Green Road. Is that correct?
Abram?
So staff is recommending approval. M2 Engineering submitted the letter, which is attached within the packet, recommending Moreville.
Is
So
there a
the
way to
funding-
get a letter from the contractor as far as no change orders?
We haven't requested, I'm not sure if M2 Engineering has requested the letter from the contractor.
I'm not too sure if we've requested that, but I'll definitely get with Milo and see if we
Yeah, because that's what happened with the yard line project, and same thing, and then the cost went so high. And then any additional cost over the what is it, 2.2 million or whatever it is, then AGUA is responsible for the difference. So we have to be very careful.
I would recommend that. Get him a letter.
So I guess we can have the board approve the lowest bidder, the only sole responsible bidder.
With a
Subject
contingency.
to the condition of receiving a letter from the contractor as far
With
as
no
change
change
orders.
orders.
Yep, no change orders.
And then how long is the price of the pipes good for? Because he also did that with the yard line project, and that's what we had to end up paying $350,000 more.
Yeah, I mean, board can certainly condition approval of a bid based on, you know, a letter or a guarantee from the contractor on certain things. Of course, you know, if that's not provided, then it would be presumed that the award is not made, right? If the board approves based on conditions and those conditions are not met, then the award would not be made.
Okay.
So the funding it's covering the whole project, right? We are funded for the whole project.
So as it is the base bid, yes, just for the base bid. So we're recommending just to award the base bid, not the alternate.
Do you want to, it might be beneficial to discuss what the alternate would cover apart from the base bid.
Yes, well, technically the actual alternate will cover what it's called the El Barquito area, which that will be removed from the project because there's no sufficient funds to complete the full project as was designed. So basically just to cover El Barquito area, which is north of Business 83 on Abram. I guess if you look at a map, is the northwest corner of Business 83 and Abram. We're looking at approximately
little-
1.4 million.
The sites here?
Yes, that's on Abram on the north side of Business 83, that section.
Not these.
Those will be constructed as a base bid, but not El Barquito area, which is the northwest corner approximately of Abram and Business 83. That's a $1.4 million alternate bid. So the recommendation from M2 Engineering is to award the base bid only, based on the funding that we have from that bank.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So move with a contingency of no change orders.
Second.
So I have a motion by Ms. Ana Maria Perez and a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 21, discussion and possible action on the declaration of surplus items to be disposed as described in section 5.08 of the AGUA set bylaws.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board. So, as a handout, we have a list of surplus items, or staff would like to declare surplus items, which includes monitors, security items, printers, office supplies, equipment, as well. So we're looking into declaring this item surplus in order for us to auction these items as well, items that are no longer needed by the districts.
On the
So-
on the PC services, you do have the IT that does remove the hard drives and everything, right?
Yes. Yes, our IT will remove all the hard drive and clean everything out.
And as far as this funding, we can use it for the new purchases.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Money.
We have, I guess, towards the end of the item matrix or the Excel page, we have main items, which is one backhoe, big text trailer, and another which is a gooseneck, and a utility trailer that we're no longer using. So those are the large items that could, get us more funding for.
Which is the backhoe, gooseneck, and the utility trailer. Of the bulk, that's the one that has the higher,
Dollar value.
Dollar amount. Do you all, like, after this auction, do you all report to us how much was actually?
We can, yes.
Okay.
Is there like a starting bid on like the backhoe, on the gooseneck?
Yes.
Do you all start it off at a certain bid, or how do you go about that?
In the past, when we did the 2018 auction or the surplus, it was similar. They started the bid based on the conditions of the vehicle. So the backhoe would be maybe, the way I understood, like a 20,000 start bid, 25,000.
Okay.
Bid and go from there.
And then go from there.
Yeah, it doesn't start from zero. It starts from an amount.
Okay, how about the rest of the,
The rest of the items, which is the office supplies, anything that's smaller items, they'll put them out there and they'll start a bid at, it could be based on history, $100, start a bid, and go from there. They might put them in a bulk, like all glitz the monitors. They'll be all together.
okay,
And they'll be sold as a lot. The PC's the same thing. So-
okay, not individually?
No, not individually. That's if we do an auction like we did in 2018. If we do an auction like online, it'll be individual items.
Okay,
We can bid on those.
So we have the two options to do it online or do it here at the premises.
Do
as
they
well,
charge
but
us
we
to do
will
that?
need to contract with,
They do,
There's a charge? Yes.
for us to run that auction?
yes.
When is this being planned for?
Probably we're looking towards February. We will need to bring, I was just talking with Jerry, we will need to bring an agenda item to authorize a certain firm either
Okay.
to do it here in-house or an actual online company like Govs. I believe there's one called govsdeals.com also that actually they auction vehicles and equipment from municipalities and counties. So we have those two options. We can bring those two options and, to reflect the cost that they're gonna be charging
Charging
per
us,
item.
yes, okay,
So
all
moved.
right. So we have a motion by Mr. Tijerina and a second by Mr. Perez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, discussion and possible action on the election of board officers for AGUA Board of Directors, President, Vice President, Secretary, and Treasurer. Can we do this after our executive?
Yes, if the board wants to do this,
Is that okay?
Motion and second and vote.
Okay, so we could just continue on and go on to
So
executive.
so it'll be, I'm sorry, Darren, it'll be 22 and 23.
Yeah,
23 goes in hand with
Yeah,
22.
we would recommend tabling both 22 and 23 for after the executive
Okay,
session.
yes, so I need a motion for somebody to table it.
So move.
So I have a motion from Ms. Ana Maria Perez and a second from Mr. Perez to table this two items, 22 and 23, until after executive session.
And then we'll call vote.
Vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item number 24, General Manager's Report, A, October financials. Mr. Salinas, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Madam President, members of the board, we have here with us Jaime Reina, Finance Director, that will summarize the October financials.
Yes, Board, these financial statements are prepared as of the end of October 31st. If you could please turn your attention to the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. Here you'll see that October represents 83% of the year. Total operating revenues were at 86%, 3% ahead due to increased water sales. And total operating expenses were at 85%. I'd also like to point out that in this month, we made the final debt payment of the year, which were for the meter leases, which were about 538,000, and AGUA Sud made its 3.7 million debt obligation for 2023.
Yes.
Okay, item number 24B, Tom Gill and Line Booster.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, we have here with us Meldon and Hunt, that has been coordinating the construction cost, value engineering with J&J. If you could briefly summarize movement on this project.
Good evening, board members. My name is Ruben De Jesus with Meldon and Hunt. As previously we came to the board before, we value engineered some of the components of this project. One of the two items that we did go back and work with staff and the contractor was on the VFD component of the pump. The VFD and also the SCADA, and we've removed the SCADA component, and that did change the price quite a bit. We also gonna work with them on the site of the actual building of the site, so that was removed from the component. So we do have a revised number. I don't know if it's been discussed or we're gonna finalize the contract with.
Yes, I did reference that the cost was brought down from 500, right now, 505,000. 800 to $399,900.
Yes, so that's the new submittal that the contractor provided. So, I don't know if there's any questions, or that's where we're at today.
How long was the project gonna take to construct?
I believe we had it for 6 months in total.
Starting, Mr. Salinas?
If we issue the notice to proceed, which I believe I can because the recommendation from the board was to proceed and doing a value engineering before, like negotiate the cost.
Negotiate the cost down, which has been done.
So we can issue a notice to proceed this month. It'll just be the timing of the equipment acquisition from the contractor. So I believe he can get started in probably mid-January with the project. I don't know the time frame as far as getting the equipment, Ruben, as far as
In some discussions, they were like 12 to 14 weeks.
the control panels and.
Some of the electrical is the longer lead time on the items.
No, it's
Yeah, because the goal would
but
be
without
to
SCADA.
have it up and running
Yes, yes.
late May or June, early June.
Well, since we removed the SCADA component, the lead time's a lot shorter. Some of those control panels are a little bit more readily available to be within that 10 to 12 week lead time. But the idea now is if if we can finalize a contract with the contractor, give him the NTP, he's gonna start doing the submittals. And once we get them, we'll approve them right away so we can order the material, because he can't order without an approved submittal on our end.
And who's the project management?
On this project, in regards to like construction admin, we'll be overseeing the project, since we're the project engineers and working with staff. So,
Okay. You just need a push on that project.
yes, sir.
So when are you gonna send that letter to commit?
We can send it as soon as possible. We just received this, Friday afternoon, the revised, cost. So now we have this, we need to put together the contract, so maybe it'll take a couple of days, Ruben, to get the contracts together and signed, and we can issue a notice to proceed after that.
So the booster will be in line by May?
Hopefully.
God willing, it will be. So we can push in the contractors. It's gonna depend on lead times from the suppliers, but for the most part, once we get the submittals, there'll be a time frame as far as in his contract of what we're gonna agree to, but hopefully we can get it done now with this component.
It's like Homer said, it's very important for us, the board and the community.
Yes, it's well noted.
And the contractor's only gonna be working Monday through Friday?
I think the contract is by calendar days, so depending on how we work with him, it's per calendar day. If he's willing to work on the weekends, I think he will.
Are the easements already taken care of there, the easement where the booster's gonna be?
We're gonna be working on right away.
Because that takes a while.
Yes, we're gonna be working on right away with the, City of, Peñitas.
It's owned by Peñitas?
Yes, owned by Peñitas.
Well, then it should
For
go,
Mile Line.
it should go fine.
Okay,
It behooves them to give it to us.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
24C, Tex State Infrastructure Bank Loan Application, Mr. Salinas.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, as the prior, board meeting, I was authorized to submit a loan application of $7 million, SIB loan to the Texas Department of Transportation, and this is in reference to the water line relocation, and also sanitary sewer improvements on Veterans Road. So between, Abram Road and, La Poma Road. So we just informed the board that we did submit, this SIB loan application, and also we're getting meetings, coordination going with our financial advisors and bond counsel as well. There was a couple of questions that TxDOT replied back to us, so we're gonna get with them, and hopefully we can iron those questions, that they had, with our bond counsel and our financial advisors, and we can move forward on this.
This is on which one? The Palmview?
This is the Palmview
Winding?
project,
Okay.
the TxDOT, winding, project that, is coming up, in about a year or so.
When does that's coming up next year towards
I
the
think
end
they
of the year,
pushed the
correct?
date back, no?
Yeah, they pushed the letting date back towards the end of the year for that project.
Towards the end of the
There's a
year.
lot of, relocations that need to happen, and of course, we have that, the sewer line that is not in compliance, that we will need to work on it. So part of this 7 million includes the water relocation and fixing the issues that we have with the current, sanitary sewer line.
Okay. Okay. So before they even begin, we have to relocate all that, correct?
The water lines, yes.
The water lines and everything else with the sewers.
Yes.
If, what happens is, we can think, we don't get approved because, Palmview they're gonna let go that project for the veterans,
Well,
I think
that's,
they'll continue with
we
it.
might need to look for different,
Different
resources, different sources of
2020,
funding.
I think that next year, they're gonna let it go, so, the project, so,
To let,
that's what we
for
have.
construction or
Yeah,
to?
construction.
For construction, yes, that was the plan, and I know there's,
In other words-
right-of-way acquisition easements, and, maybe they're gonna have to exercise like eminent domain.
In
to
other words, they
purchase
start
some,
construction next year? Is that
Or 25, I think.
25, yeah.
Yeah.
25 what?
2025.
To twenty
If
twenty-five.
there's any
think-
condemnations,
sure
then,
this,
if there's any condemnations, then the
Condemnation, yeah.
project will get pushed, right,
Back
until they get the right of way.
With whatever's coming in, with whatever businesses are coming
And
in.
there's other utilities as well that need to relocate.
So what's
not
plan
only-
B? Or-
I mean, 7 million, it's, hopefully we can get a positive resolution on the litigation that we have right now.
Okay.
That's another,
Thank you.
Okay.
that's a plan.
I know, I hear you, Ms. Perez. I hear you. I know. Okay, moving forward, item 25, District Engineers Report. A, Nat Bank Technical Assistance Agreement, storage hookups.
Yes,
Mr.
Madam-
Salinas.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, we have M2 Engineering to summarize.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Item A is a reference to Phase 1 of the Yard Line Project in Palmview. Over the past few weeks, we've received the final as-bills from the contractor as well as the final change order and the final pay request. We have reviewed and provided these to AGUA Sud and for final review in order to push that out for NADBANK's final approval. I know we're going to cover change order number 6 in executive session, but upon approval of those final items, this project is ready for closeout.
It's ready for what?
For
Pay out?
final closeout. I'm sorry, do you guys have any questions on item A?
No, sir, thank you.
Yes, sir. Item B is the Mendiola Water Storage Tank Project. At this time, our team has no information to report.
Okay.
I
No
thought they were going to
information
send a certified letter.
I'm sorry?
There are, I guess, okay, so as, from what I know, the contractor, CSJ, is working on closeout documents. I'm not sure if you have received any of that documentation, Ruben, as far as Meldon and Hunt. I know that you're working with CSJ for the Mendiola project. So has there been any coordination between CSJ and Meldon and Hunt?
No, not since the last time, that meeting that we had, we left it up, we submitted their comment letter, but we haven't received any of that.
To M2 engineer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I believe there was a list of pending items, and some of them were closeout documents
Yeah.
as well.
From my understanding, those documents have been submitted to CSJ Group already.
Yes, sir.
And then, understanding that Meldon and Hunt doesn't even work for us on that project. Y'all work for CSJ Group. So we need to get Eddie somehow in a meeting or in here.
Yeah, that the last time I think I
Project management,
recommended a demand
you know,
letter.
M2, so we can close out this project. Because it also affects us on our audit.
I think Javi was the one that.
Because it's a pending project that's still open.
We have a pending bond
Yes,
proceeds.
and we need to close it, so, that I'm understanding there's only like 1 or 2 more documents, the manuals, the pumps, for the pumps that were being turned in. There's a letter coming in from the tank. I understand that, the thicker and the thinner, but, the contractor, which is the one that made the tank, is already, he's gonna do that letter, cause they did it through specs. So we need to push on this as soon as possible.
So who's the one that needs to be pushing on this? Because ever since I came in, it's been, nothing to report, and nothing to report, and it's just like, we keep hearing the same thing. Like there's nothing that has been done on it.
Well, we've got, I'll note that the Mendiola Water Storage Tank Project is an item on the executive session, and so, we can talk about that in the executive session and next steps.
Okay. So, Liberty, yes, 25C, Liberty Road widening, water line relocation project.
Yes, board members, item C for the Liberty Road widening water line relocation project. Last month, we discussed how upon initiation of construction, existing water lines were discovered that were not anticipated. Since then, the plans were corrected and construction has initiated again, and we estimate it to be about 25% complete.
Okay.
When is the deadline date, or just,
I would have-
project's gonna finish.
I would have to double check that.
25 complete?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, I was just briefly talking with Albert, but I believe that the contractor is scheduled to finish by the end of January. That's the RDH.
Correct, there's some issues with the terrain, there's a lot of, caliche, so they didn't anticipate that, so their machinery, their heavy equipment, broke. So they're getting a special,
Excavator.
tool for the back of the excavator to try and move that as fast as they can. So they did start again, as Bernie said, but, they're anticipating for the end of January.
Okay.
Caliche is very good commodity there. They could sell it to somebody.
Okay. Any further questions or concerns on item 25? Okay. So for moving forward, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Moving forward, item 26, executive session. As provided by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Sections 551.071-551.091, the Board of Directors may convene in a closed executive session to deliberate, discuss, or consult regarding the matters listed below on proper motion and approval of any of these items set forth above. Under the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. A, cause number C-3353-20I, SMB Infrastructure versus AGUA Special Utility District and the District Court of Hidalgo County, Texas, 398th Judicial District. B, cause number C-3703-23E, Jimmy Klausner and Sons Construction Company Incorporation versus AGUA Special Utility District and the Court of Hidalgo County, Texas, 275th Judicial District. C, Stage 3 Drought Contingency Plan. D, Mendiola Water Storage Tank Project. E, Service Capacity Limitations and Pending Applications. Also, we're going to go ahead and we brought in items number 19, and we had, and of course, we have tabled items 24 and 23.
Yes, and we're also, item number 9 is being discussed in executive session.
Okay, item number 9. Okay, so we're going to be also with item number 9. I need a motion to go into executive at 7:35.
So, second?
I have a motion by Dr. Villarreal and a second by Mr. Tijerina. All in favor say aye. Motion carries.